Hey, first of all, we're back, baby. I mean, I'm doing 2 videos in a day now. What the freak? We are actually back. Bears training camp underway. Lots of excitement around what's happening, and maybe a little bit of some people being frustrated about some things that are happening. But Ben Johnson warned us about this yesterday. He talked about how it's going to be like this. There's going to be some setbacks, and it's really about what happens when we get to the season. So, not worried about any of that, but I do want to focus about what he said yesterday about Caleb Williams and 70% completion. For those who didn't listen to the press conference, I'm going to bring it up in 2 seconds. He flat out brought out and said, this is a benchmark for us, and a lot of coaches won't do that. They won't get specifics like that. So it was a lot of fun for me. So let's pull right up with what Ben Johnson said yesterday.
Benchmark goals for Caleb throughout not only camp but preseason.
Yeah, I don't. We have not put. You have to complete 60% this day, 65 the next. We haven't done that. We certainly have goals that we strive for. I won't even. It's not a secret. I told him I would love for him on the season to complete 70% of his balls. So you would like to think over the course of practice that we're completing 70% or more. That's hard to just magically arise in a game. So it's a lofty goal, but it's one that we're going to strive for. And so because of that, we're going to use that as our benchmark and kind of work from there.
Just like you said, it's a lofty goal. Like that's what a goal is. Anybody who's ever set goals, sometimes you set that benchmark, that goal higher than you really expect it to be so that you can attain, the old saying, you shoot for the moon, and you hit the stars or whatever, the other way around. You're shooting for the high excellence, and maybe if you don't get there, you're still happy with where it gets. But let's pull up the last couple years because that's what we like to do on this channel. Pull up the stats, show where quarterbacks have been, show a relation to Ben Johnson, see how Caleb did last year. And let's look at how realistic it is that Caleb be a 70% completion quarterback. And is that way too lofty for him to be able to attain? So here's the last 4 years of quarterbacks, their completion percentage. And you guys on this channel know that I actually like adjusted completion percentage more. It shows more realistic view of the quarterback and how they performed outside of drops, outside of throwing the ball away, outside of things like that. But they talked about completion percentage, so we're going to touch completion percentage. And over the last 4 years, there's only been, 5 this last year. So it kind of throws it off a little bit. It makes it look like there's more that get over 70% than there are. But the last 3 years before that, there were only, 1 in each of those years, except 0 in 2022. And Jake Browning was really just filling in for injured Joe Burrow. So, and some of these you can see as you look through here, as you look at Jimmy Garoppolo on there several times, right here and right here. And as you see Geno Smith, and as you see a couple of these different, I'm not going to go through every one of them, but as you see some of these different quarterbacks, some of these guys are really benefiting from systems more than anything. Well, that should give a little bit of confidence towards Caleb because now he's in a system where Ben Johnson's in charge, and Ben Johnson has done a lot to work with the likes of Jared Goff. In fact, if we pull Jared Goff's off, you can see the first year. Now, Ben Johnson was only the offensive coordinator the last 3 years. He wasn't the coordinator here. Take Jared Goff and look at that first year where Ben Johnson was the coordinator, 65.1%. Second year, 67.3%. And the third year, he attained that 70% completion that Ben Johnson's talking about. So is it realistic for Caleb, who hasn't been even in college, he was not even pushing 70% completion. And you look at all these quarterbacks, these are just for reference. These are only the top 20 each year. Now, there's out of qualifying quarterbacks, there's 40 roughly each year that throw, roughly 250 attempts. We'll put that round number out there. So out of 250 attempts, have 70% completion or higher. And these are just the top 20 in total completion, period. Well, there were 5 this last year, and then overall in the top 20, you see you get down into the 64 range. Well, Caleb was down in 62 range, and really the first couple games of the season wrecked the beginning of that. But you look through here in these last 4 years, not a single Bears quarterback on the top 20 list for these. Not Justin Fields, not Caleb Williams, not Nick Foles. Sorry, not Nick Foles. That was the year prior. Andy Dalton. Anyways, no Bears quarterback on this top 20 list. Not one. So we didn't have a top 20 quarterback as far as completion percentage. Well, here's Caleb's rookie year, and this is game-by-game breakdown. So he played all 17 games, which think a lot of fans are overlooking that and the reality of how important that is and how special that was for a Bears quarterback because that hasn't happened forever. But of his games, And the Jacksonville game was the really good game. The Jacksonville game, actually, if I pulled up adjusted completion percentage, it was 95.8% adjusted completion percentage. There were some drops, a lot of drops in that game, but we still won the game, and he still played really well. That was his 4-touchdown game. Obviously, he had the 3-touchdown game against Detroit, which was also good, which should have ended differently than it did. Oh, we're reminiscing too much. But 5 games where he had over 70% completion percentage. But look how he got started on the season. 48, 62, 63. You can blame him for that. You can blame rookie jitters. You can also blame Shane Waldron. But as you look at where the changes happened in the season, no other quarterback went through what he went through. I mean, he had one offensive coordinator for the first 10 games. Shane Waldron only hit that twice. 69% was real close to it. So we can kind of count that one with the Carolina game. But then had to switch when Shane Waldron got canned. Thomas Brown became the new offensive coordinator after that. Had a good game right after it, and then things tapered off. I don't think these guys, were completely ready to be in the spotlight. Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown, they weren't quite up to Ben Johnson status, but here we are. Then he got canned. Well, no, Thomas Brown, I apologize. I backtracked that. Then Matt Eberflus got canned. Thomas Brown got elevated. And he got a new offensive coordinator, though, Chris Beatty. So Chris Beatty became the new offensive coordinator. And while things didn't change a lot from Thomas Brown to Chris Beatty, it is a new play caller. And so Chris Beatty then took over the play, and a good game against San Francisco. 73.9% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then it tapered off again until the Green Bay game, where the team was super motivated to finally break that streak against Green Bay. And FGB, put an FGB in the comments. FGB, blah, blah, puke emoji, FGB. But Caleb, he had, some games where you see that 70% completion percentage, and you feel like it could definitely be a possibility. And you see, on the Arizona game, 50 dropbacks, only 22 out of 41 though. So how much of this is coaching? I think everyone can agree that Ben Johnson should bring stability, especially when you see what he did with another former number 1 overall pick. Jared Goff, the 3 years he was with him, improved every year. And these are the things I like to look for in analytics when I'm connecting dots with someone. Jared Goff is not Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is not Jared Goff. But these two worked together for these 3 seasons. And Jared Goff had the second highest completion percentage last year. And per snap, he had more snaps than Tua. He did even better than Tua with the snaps that he took, but the completion percentage there. So Jared Goff had one of the highest, if not the highest, completion percentage there. So it just shows Ben Johnson was able to work with him. They elevated each other and they worked together. This is what we want to see out of Caleb. Right now, if you didn't see on that, let's pull it right back to there. 62.5%. I didn't highlight at the bottom. That was his overall average for his rookie year. 62.5%, which not great, not worse than the league. We know Anthony Richardson down in the high 40s, low 50s with his completion percentage was historically bad. But Caleb was in the 30 range, right around 30 out of 40 quarterbacks. So room for improvement, room for growth. But with Ben Johnson, I really think that is something that could happen for him. Where do I think he'll end up? Just like Jared Goff's progression, 62.5 last year, a whole new offense, an offensive coordinator that is, he's not the head coach, that's the offensive play caller, that is really experienced now. He's got those 3 years with Jared Goff, and he's got expectations, as we've seen from camp, as he, pulled the first team out. Get out of there. Get somebody else in if you guys aren't ready, if you're not going to line up on time, if you're not going to be prepared for the moment. We get someone with expectations. I do think Caleb will at least be in that top 20 list. That's a fair expectation. He should be in that top 20 list of completion percentage, but I really think he'll be bordering that top 10. He'll be somewhere around 67, 68% completion, as long as things go with Ben Johnson how they should go. High-powered offense, new offensive line, all the weapons in the world. We'll see what happens, but even if Luther Burden isn't up to ready or whatever, and I think he will be, Olamide Zaccheaus, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, and the running backs. I think there's going to be huge opportunity for Caleb to be right in that top 10 range for completion percentage. So are they lofty goals? Yes, 100%. 70% completion percentage. 5 of them this last year, but over the last 4 years, only 7 total. So there's not many that break that 70% completion range. So I don't think it would be expected out of Caleb. But I think they're shooting that bar high and saying we're going to get real close to that. And I think he can. I think he can do it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, though. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. We're back, baby. Bears football's back. It's going to be exciting. We're going to see how this thing pans out this year. Please, 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 please. I need help. I need a break. I need a reprieve. I need a reprieve from the insanity of always having a losing record and picking in the top 10. It's time. Let's do this. All right. Till next time. Da Bears. Bear down.
Bear down, sports making Chicago proud.